Hey, welcome to Here's Eight. I'm Paul,
And I'm Patrick.
and today we're going to be talking about Spielberg and his top 10 films of our choices.
Yeah, and if you like this video, you should check out our other stuff. Go to our videos on the page. Also, we release a new video every Tuesday and Thursday, so hit that subscribe button and stick around.
So, to kick us off, number 10.
Number 10. This is very, very difficult because Steven Spielberg has 32 movies. He's making a 33rd in West Side Story remake. And out of those 30 odd movies, almost, like, I'd say 25 of them are really good. So trying to get 10 out of that was difficult. There was a lot of compromise. This is a joint list, everybody.
It very much is.
So in at 10, before you shout at us, Catch Me If You Can. It's a masterpiece of style. It's got all of Spielberg's magic dust thrown into it. And I think it's a great bit of casting, which doesn't hurt if you're Steven Spielberg. People will say yes.
Not at all. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio as which is the main character, who is a con man, conning the United Airlines for I think over 20 years.
Yeah, he conned a lot of people.
I may have gotten the years wrong and stuff, but
Yeah,
you've also got Tom Hanks as which is off the desk agent who's very strict, and you got Christopher Walken as the father. You also have I think Amy, which
Adams?
is Amy Adams. Is her first role?
Yeah, maybe not a first, but yeah, no, it was one of her bigger ones, I think.
Yeah, she played the nurse, and which gives Leonardo DiCaprio's kind of love interest at one point.
Yeah, I think it can be summed up pretty easily in saying it's a fantastic cast, not wasted. That's one of Spielberg's hallmarks. It's incredibly stylish and it covers the period so well. And it has a couple of really compelling main characters that are really well serviced. So you don't come out of this feeling like it was just the Leonardo DiCaprio, Frank Abagnale story. It's also the Tom Hanks character gets a lot of service. So that's good Spielberg right there.
No, it's a very good film. If you haven't watched it, definitely recommend it.
Check it out. And 9, Paul.
Is which is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the third in the series.
Usually the third in the series is something you say with some derision, but when it comes to this, it's just another entry in the series because it's really good.
Yeah, no, it's very much so. Great cast as well. Once again, Harrison Ford comes back as the Indiana Jones character. You've got which goes, oh my god, my head is completely gone blank.
He's Sean Connery.
Sean Connery as Indy's father, which is fantastic as well because Sean Connery is such a strong actor versus Harrison Ford, who is also a strong actor.
Yeah.
But it's very rare in a third film that you can continue on in a great story with characters and stuff and not do anything that kind of takes it for a knock or anything. And Spielberg masterfully does this with his characters once again.
Oh, absolutely. It's a beautiful romp with loads. It has that Spielberg heart to it, and the underlying arc of Indy trying to reconcile with his father, step out of his father's shadow, all that great stuff. It's there, and it's still a romp around the world. So it's the perfect adventure, as only Spielberg could. And in at 8, Minority Report. It's one of the great sci-fis done by Steven Spielberg. He's done a few, actually, when you look at his list. This one is exceptional for having an Irish actor in it, Colin Farrell, little hometown reference there. Go on, Colin.
So.
But it's a wonderful premise, often wasted.
Yeah.
The idea of having a great sci-fi premise is often wasted by less capable directors.
Yeah, so it's a Philip K. Dick book about which goes pre-crime and which goes essentially, cops arrest you before you commit a crime, which is an interesting kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Tom Cruise as the main character. Spielberg is great with the stylization. Once again, you can see the evolution of some of the future technologies that are in this. Very cool, very nicely looking thing.
Yeah, it's a good, slick sci-fi, again, with heart and adventure at its core, which is, again, the Steven Spielberg traits. So, yeah, it had to make the list.
Very much so. Which is number 7.
Number 7 is Jurassic Park.
Very much so.
Jurassic Park, everybody loves Jurassic Park. Who doesn't love Jurassic Park? How can it be on this list so high, considering all the films that Steven Spielberg has done? Name another film that can compete with it in what it does. There isn't one. That's why it made it this high on the list.
Yeah, Jurassic Park is a great film, which is you've got a great cast once again. But in this one, you've got which is such a great build of imagination and dreaming, and kids kind of like, like a kids film kind of thing, which takes a dark turn towards the action adventure kind of thing. This film has never been able to be reproduced again in the series, so it shows its place, done by Spielberg.
Yeah, amazing visual effects, amazing technicians that brought the world to life. The reason I'm crediting Spielberg with this is his ability to use his skills to bring out the heart. He makes you wonder. He brings that sense of childish wonder about, oh my god, there's dinosaurs. Then he brings the terror, which he's able to do with a lot of his other movies, and the suspense and the tension. And then he's able to anthropomorphize a T-Rex and make it the hero at the end of the movie. That's a lot of skill. I know there's a great story and there was a lot of people involved and they all should be proud, but I think Steven Spielberg does deserve a little tip of the cap for this one.
And once again, it shows kind of like some of the great skills that he has. Is that scene where he shows the dinosaurs for the first time with Hans Zimmer's theme coming in. It just builds so much imagination and wonder with that great.
It's a
great
timeless movie moment. Number 6, Schindler's List. What can you say about Schindler's List? It's a lot of people remember it as, it's that film about the guy who had the list and saved so many Jews in the Holocaust. It is a masterclass in movie making also. It is an incredibly heavy topic, but it's 3 hours of cinema class for a lot of people also. It is such a hard topic to deal with delicately. It is dealt with delicately, yet humor is injected for storytelling reasons, which is very, very difficult in that circumstance. He uses every motivated camera move, every thing in his arsenal as a movie maker to rightfully tell such an important story. It's a lot of people will also go, well, it's 3 hours and it's black and white. It deserves to be 3 hours. It's not just black and white. Their color is removed and reintroduced brilliantly at certain times, but also where there is an absence of color, he uses lighting so wonderfully. It's told in 2 styles: documentary for to make sure that you feel how awful things are, and masterfully manages to also do a kind of a film noir style to show the excess. It's I can't say enough about it.
No, it shows its kind of place with which had been in the middle is just because it is a film on its own in the repertoire of Spielberg's work. So we would have loved to have put this higher. It is higher on another list, but for this one we had to put it kind of like somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
So number 5 is which would E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial.
Our everybody's favorite little phone home friend.
It is a fantastic childhood film that a lot of people would think should be higher on this list, but which is, you'll have to see the rest of the list to see why we have chosen this position.
Yeah, it does mean so much to so many, and I think it's because, again, without really going into the film itself, it well acted, well shot, well directed. It's got more heart than a heart surgeon's heart table. I don't know what has lots of heart. More heart than a big whale. They've got big hearts. It is the most Spielbergy film on the entire list. It is the one thing that I think you can say he uses all of his trademarks of optimism, of passion, of adventure. Even in the small scale, he manages to make a small town a big adventure playground. His work with the interpersonal relationships, not only with E.T. but inside the family, is just perfect. It's a masterpiece.
Like this film is so good that we've even seen some slight copycats of the setting and everything in Super 8 by J.J. Abrams, and also which is the very popular TV show Stranger Things.
That's right.
So much so that these shows have had these which is homages to the elements within E.T. is great. It shows that Spielberg was able to master this kind of childhood wonder and look of friendship and everything, and I make you love a extraterrestrial who hardly ever speaks with his comedic voice and the relationship of a human child, Elliot.
No, it's a masterpiece. So in at 4.
So in at 4 is Saving Private Ryan. A lot of you will be wondering why it's on number 4, but from Spielberg's early life, when he started filming, not films, he started off using toys and pop caps to do World War II movies. This showed once again in the Saving Private Ryan, or the
Band of
Band of
Brothers.
Brothers,
Band of
which
Brothers,
TV show, where he was always fascinated by the brotherhood of war and in combat and everything, and he was able to bring these all together within his work of Saving Private Ryan, a film about the tragedies of war, the horrifying aspects of war, but also the compassion that can happen within war, and the brotherhood and camaraderie ship. So much so that the beach scene, which is the most famous scene.
Yeah, that landing scene. You said that the people, veterans, had to leave because they felt it was too real. It was bringing them back too much, which, as we tried to work out how to say that, it's the most epic yet harrowing compliment to be paid.
Yeah, that you were able to portray a moment that was so ingrained in people's memories that were there, that when they see it on the screen, with actors that they love, with Tom Hanks and everything, that they had to leave. They got anxiety and everything.
And when you're telling a story about war and something that has actually happened, to Steven Spielberg's credit, he was able to make that visceral as it had to be, because none of us should ever be watching a war movie, seeing a beach landing, going, yay. It's all horrible for all sides at all times. But because he has that massive optimism in him, he was able to make a movie include that and still show the camaraderie and the compassion and the humanity and why people fight wars in the first place. It's for the darkest in us, but it's also for the best.
Yeah, he didn't glorify war in any kind of way. He showed the horrifulness, but the only thing he glorified was the human relationships within that are created within war, showing that we're not, that different from each other.
So, for those of you that are wondering why it's so high up the list, that's why. If you don't agree, comment down below.
Please do. So, number 3.
Okay, top 3. Everybody, again, top 3, the toughest part. It's the one that we swapped around most between both of us. This is our compromised list. In third is a film that I had first in almost all of my lists, but I actually think third's its right place. Jaws. What do you have to say about Jaws? Because I feel like I'm going to be killed by a bunch of people for saying it.
Jaws is a fantastic film. It does deserve one of the other top spots. As we said, the top 3 movies in this list could always be mixed around. We've put Jaws just in the third slot. It isn't any lesser, it isn't any more from these movies. It is a fantastic film. Great characters and everything, great intrigue. Like a masterclass in storytelling of like the unknown as well.
Yeah.
Like,
It is a truly incredible piece of cinema. It started the summer blockbuster craze for a reason, not because it's a blockbuster, because it's actually a tense horror family film. Like it straddles so many genres so deftly. One of the reasons that it moves down the list is because Spielberg did so well, but everybody knows that the shark didn't work. Spielberg thought on his feet and made an amazing movie. If the animatronic shark had worked better, Steven Spielberg was going to make a different movie. So a little bit of fortune, or misfortune as he would have seen it at the time, shone on him and brought us all, thanks to him, the film that is now it is amazing. One of the greatest films of all time, Jaws. But there are 2 other films that he maybe was more directly planning on them have turned out the way they are. So in its second...
is the number 2 spot is given to Close Encounter of the Third Kind.
Brilliant sci-fi family film, which had not been done before that. Nobody had taken the idea of having a proper grown-up sci-fi family film, something that everybody could watch from the youngest to the oldest, be tense, be scared, be mystified, live in awe and wonder. It was the first time somebody did that.
No, it's a fantastic film in the whole kind of look and feel of a country that is also tensely rooted in kind of fear of outside and communism and all that kind of stuff. I may have gotten that a little bit wrong.
No, you're right. Yeah,
with
there was a Cold War overtone.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see the optimism. There's elements of that in parts, but it's not like a main story part or anything like that. It just shows hints of it. It once again shows Spielberg's optimism that the outcome happens the way it does. He does sci-fi family adventure kind of thing with some comedy kind of thrown in there, which goes, the characters are fantastic. The visual effects once again are fantastic.
Oh, he marries as any great filmmaker does, but in particular him, because he has such heart and optimism, as we keep saying. He marries all of the parts of the discipline together. Visuals, sound. He got great performances from the actors. Richard Dreyfuss is famous for many, many films. I think every time I see him in this, I'm blown away just by how good he really was, with bringing a light tone at all of the right times and sometimes all of the wrong times to keep the film with that intriguing, weird air that it had to it. So yeah, number 2 on the list, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
We got a great scene out of it with all that music as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so
everybody went to a piano or was near a keyboard at some stage in their life and thought, what can I play? I'll give that a go. In at number 1, Paul.
Yes.
So we're finally there. The top spot.
For Spielberg movies. Drum roll, please.
But I'm going to add it in post.
We should. It is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
There you go. It is the first of the Dr. Jones films. Cinema masterpiece, as we've said about other things. This is an adventure an adventure story writ large. When nobody was doing this sort of thing, it reignited many other genres, and nobody has actually gone back into this one and done as well. It's that Saturday afternoon stage radio play, swashbuckling adventure with an amazing cast, amazing locations, amazing tempo, amazing pace. It is one of those kind of it's perfect, I wouldn't change a thing films.
No, very much so. Spielberg shows his mastery of characters and everything, like characters and cinematography and filming, that the introduction of Indiana Jones is silent. You get everything you need to know from his actions, from the way that the other people there that are reacting to him. You show that he's a strong, capable character that's brave, knowledgeable about this, but human. So
it is perfect, and it spawned sequels that were brilliant as well. But I think for us, it's the best Indiana Jones. It is also maybe one of the best expressions of Steven Spielberg's craft. So well done, Steven. We love almost all your movies, and that's the one that we picked. Well, we picked it top at least 4 out of the 12 times that we did the list.
Very much so. So that is our top 10 list. We have some dishonorable mentions or blooper moments kind of thing.
Yeah.
Of some of the other films. Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull came 33 in my list. I didn't even list some of the movies that I hadn't watched.
I have no idea what Paul's talking about because that film doesn't exist. That film doesn't exist. Go with me. The world will be a better place. I think for my dishonorable mention, it's... Oh, sorry.
That's the first film that I've ever walked out on.
Oh man, you can't have walked out quick. I didn't even go into because somebody told me not. It would hurt me. I did end up seeing it, folks, and I regret that. So if you haven't seen it, don't. Just don't ever see it. Ready Player One, not anywhere near that level of bad. But I think in recent times, it's one of his misses. When we looked at the list, it's like, oh, that's a shame. 1941 was another kind of rare miss. I don't know how I feel about West Side Story. Fingers crossed for you, Stephen, but well, let's get one back in the win. Call me Mir.
Yeah, like his last kind of few films have been not as good as his masterpiece. So we're hoping that a reinvigoration of his like, you know, inner flame will happen again.
Yeah, I'm not feeling positive with West Side Story, but let's see. To that though, let's throw it out to you. Nobody out there agrees with this list. You agree with some part of this list. Nobody's going to agree with all of it. If you're the person that does, definitely comment below. We'd like to find the one other person because we don't even agree with this list. So get your comments in there. Get likes and subscribes because we would love to know that you like this content and we would love to give you more of it. So share with your friends as well. So
we release videos every Tuesday and Thursday, so check the other ones out as well, and which because we're also on Twitter and Facebook. But I've been Paul.
I've been Patrick.
And we've been Hear Us Out.
See you next time.